today's webinar of SalesLogix e-marketing. We're going to do a deep dive into the drip marketing portion of SalesLogix e-marketing. Your presenter today is Scott Weber of Customer FX, and I just wanted to mention a couple items to you before we begin. For today's webinar, all lines have been placed on mute. However, if you come up with any questions, please feel free to post those to the question pane, and I will either answer them as they come in, and if there's something I can't answer at the end, I'll pass it over to Scott, and he can take a crack at it. But other than that, I'm going to give the controls over to Scott so that we can get going.
All right. Thank you, Brianna.
You're welcome.
Okay, looks like it's happening here. So I'll show my screen. Okay, well, I'll just do a little bit of background here. We are, again, planning to show just the drip marketing portion of the whole SalesLogix e-marketing solution. There's a wealth of information available from the SwiftPage website, which is what powers SalesLogix e-marketing. And there's quite a bit of information there that I'm not planning to cover today because they did a great job of covering all of that. And so what I want to concentrate on today is very specifically the drip marketing aspect of e-marketing, and even more specific to that is how do you use it and how does it interact with SalesLogix. So we're going to talk about the integration itself rather than the solution as a whole. And again, for anybody that's not up to speed on the whole thing, again, a lot of this information is available with videos and so forth right from SwiftPage. What I'm going to show you today works with SalesLogix Web version 7.5.3 or higher, so 7.3, 7.4, and conversely, it doesn't work with anything older than that. If you have a prior version of SalesLogix Web, you do still get the drip marketing functionality if you do sign up for e-marketing. However, it does not have the integration capabilities for the drip marketing piece that I'm showing today. It does have integration for email blasts if you're just doing a blast, but unfortunately it doesn't have the interaction that I'm showing you today with those older versions of SalesLogix. Just want to make that clear. So we're going to talk about the points of integration, exactly what does integration mean, what is integrated. We're going to show how to include and remove a lead or a contact from a drip marketing campaign. So when I use the word campaign in the context of today's call, this is a drip marketing campaign that's part of the e-marketing solution, not to be confused with the built-in campaigns functionality that's part of SalesLogix natively. We're also going to talk about how to sync the results back to SalesLogix, and the results are if you include a lead or a contact in a drip marketing campaign, once you've included them in that, you want them to be the recipient of the drip marketing tasks that you build. We'll show how to get the results or the fate of the emails that were being sent to them to come backwards into SalesLogix and update the e-marketing results tab. So we'll show you that. And then there's also some online reporting I'll show you too that gives you quite a bit of detail about the success or rates and opens and clicks and things for the email blast if that's one of the things you've included in drip marketing. Okay, so with all that said, the first thing I'll show you is this is the 754 web client, and we're looking at the e-marketing tab specifically, and I got here today by logging in as the administrator on this demo system, and the administrator in SalesLogix is an active e-marketing user, so I have the ability through that licensing to do what I'm showing you today. Other users in your SalesLogix system would not have access to this if they are not also a SwiftPage user, and that's what you see up here at the top is Customer FX is the account with SwiftPage, and I'm CFX Scott, the user, so I have the rights to do all this stuff. So I've navigated to the e-marketing area, and I specifically chose the drip marketing tab, what you're seeing here now on the screen is that indeed we have two different drip marketing campaigns that are in existence. And the top one you can see is in the build stage, which basically tells SalesLogix I'm not done with it yet. I'm still working on creating this drip marketing campaign, so it's in a build state and hasn't had any action or hasn't been launched yet. The second one's a welcome back campaign that is an active one. And you can see that there are two targets. And a target is either a lead or a contact record in your SalesLogix system that you've decided to include in this particular campaign. And again, some of the tools will show you is how to manage those targets. We can see whether or not it's been synced and who synced it and what stage it's in, and if there's any new history or scores. So if any results came back because one of these two targets got our email, maybe the first email in the drip marketing campaign, it's going to record for us whether they received it, opened it, how many times they opened it, did they forward it, or click on any of the links that we may have embedded in that particular campaign. In the middle of the screen, we're looking at the filter. So this campaign status is just a filter, and as you would expect, if I have all selected, I'm going to see all of my campaigns regardless of what their status is. If I, for example, click on, okay, I only want to see the ones in the build, you notice it dropped one off. And if I go to active, it shows the other one, pretty straightforward, and go back to all, we can see them all. You can also see a Drip Marketing Manager button, which we'll get to in a second here, but I'll stay on the screen. And the concept is that the email addresses of your leads and contacts in SalesLogix, they reside in your SalesLogix database, of course, but then anytime we're going to include them as a target in a drip marketing campaign, we're going to copy their email address up to the SwiftPage website, because SwiftPage is what's actually doing the delivery of those emails for us. And so when we talk about syncing targets, what that will do is it'll refresh or update the list of email recipients / targets up on SwiftPage with maybe some new ones that have been requested to be included in the campaign over in SalesLogix, and I'll show you that as well. The next button is called the Get Results, and what that's going to do is it's going to go out to SwiftPage and query their database and give me back in SalesLogix. Now it's going to copy that results data back into SalesLogix, and we're going to show you that for a given lead or contact, you're going to see what happened to the email that got sent to that target as part of this, as part of an email blast stage of a drip marketing campaign. And the bottom part of the screen allows you to modify the target list. So when you originally create the campaign and you launch it or activate it, you're including a group of records in SalesLogix. So I'm again assuming everybody on the call is probably familiar with how to build groups of records in SalesLogix. And so when you sync those targets, or rather modify those targets, you can tell SwiftPage, I want to add a group of records to the targets, or I want to remove groups of records from the target list, depending on whether they fell in or fell out of the criteria you use to build your SalesLogix group. I know that's a mouthful, but I'll show you that. I think it's a pretty simple process. Okay, so with that said, the first thing we'll do is let's take a look at the Drip Marketing Manager, and this is going to take us to a new website that is your landing page for managing these campaigns we're working on here. So now we've navigated over to the actual SwiftPage website. It automatically logged me in, and you can see those exact same two campaigns you saw in SalesLogix now up here on SwiftPage. And the things you can do here are you can edit your campaigns, you can delete them or get rid of them, you can suspend them, which puts them on a temporary hold, and you can also view the campaign and look at lists of your targets that are up there and then run reports. So let's take a look at this first one that is under construction. You can see the little hammer and wrench there to tell me that. So if I choose edit that one, it'll bring up this particular page. And this is where you actually build the various stages or things you want to happen as part of an ongoing drip marketing campaign. And the most typical thing I can think of is for many companies, maybe they have a newsletter, and that newsletter goes out every month. And it allows your SalesLogix users to include or remove contacts and leads from getting that particular newsletter. And so what we've done in this very simple example is there's only one stage in it. This particular drip marketing campaign only has one thing it does, which is not that powerful, but you can obviously add more things to it, like create call lists and even send postcards and letters and faxes, if you remember what faxes are. We can create telemarketing call lists and even transfer people intelligently off of one campaign onto a different campaign if they met certain criteria based on that. So the one, again, that's most common is emailing. So I already have an email in here. It's a template. And if I want to add a second email as a second stage, so we'll click on that. And now it's just interrogating me and asking me to fill out information about this second stage. What's it called? What's the subject? What template? And there are a variety of pre-built kind of in-the-can templates that come with SwiftPage. And it's nice to use these as a starting point, maybe to modify yours. And you can also, of course, include your own HTML-based email templates. You do not have to start with their templates, but this just shows you a whole bunch of them that they give you to kind of get you started with building your template. So we're just going to say blank, and you can have a personal message that in addition to the template itself, you can add a personal message which will show up at the top of the email, like, hey, don't forget to ask about our special of the week, or whatever personal message you want to add in addition to the content that's going to be included in your template. You can choose when it's going to be sent. You can choose to send it to all the contacts in the drip marketing list, or only certain ones based on some filters and rules. And last thing I want to show you is that you can force it to synchronize the target list with SalesLogix prior to executing. And I think it'll make sense why you may want to do that as we go through this a little bit deeper here. So anyway, that's how you would add a new email blast. And again, there's lots of good content on SwiftPage's site that teaches you how to do this particular part of it. So for now, I'm going to jump back into SalesLogix, and we're going to show, for example, this Welcome Back 2011. Now that was, again, it's built, it's active, it's got emails that I've created that are scheduled to go out over time. And what you can do is, if we go back to, let's pick on leads here, what I've done is I've created an ad hoc group. And that ad hoc group has John and Bridget in it. And I've called it drip marketing just to be simple for today. So as a marketing person setting up these drip marketing campaigns in SalesLogix, probably the first thing you're going to want to do is build a group either based on rules or based on just being an ad hoc group. What that's going to allow you to do is going to allow your users to go into SalesLogix, and if they go, you know, I really wish Scott Clifford here would be getting a particular drip marketing campaign, so I've highlighted Scott, and I've said add him to an existing group, and that existing group is drip marketing. I'm doing that because I want him to start getting our series of email blasts and become a member of that particular marketing campaign. So now if we look at the drip marketing tab, I've got 3 people in there. So it's as simple as that. That's how you would add and or remove a lead or a contact from one of these campaigns. And now that I've done that, we highlight the welcome back. And if you just want to go ahead and sync those new targets, you can click this button, and it's going to go ahead and update SwiftPage and include Scott now in that particular campaign, and he'll start to get that sequence of emails. You can, there's a limitation here. I'm not really sure why it's a limitation, but there's a limitation in that you can only use the sync target button for up to 3,000 changes. I know that seems like a lot, but it probably isn't for big marketing blasts. So if you're going to do this kind of onesie-twosie like you saw me just do, the Sync Targets button works for up to 3,000 changes since the last time you did it. And if you're going to do more of a bulk update or modify the target list of this representative group up on SwiftPage, you would use this Modify Target List area. This is designed to do updates in bulk. And so what I may do here is say, well, I have a brand new lead group that I want to include, and I want it to be the newest version of the drip marketing list. And if I choose Sync Those Targets, you'll see SalesLogix come up and say, okay, we've got some new people in here, and we want to sync those now. And you can click Sync, and so it'll say you had to. One of them was added, and that was Scott. Nobody was removed because I didn't take anybody out of that list. So you can see now that there are indeed 3 people included in the drip marketing campaign called Welcome Back 2011, and I did that very easily here. And you could remove targets in the same fashion. You can tell it which one you want, and anybody that was taken out of the group, which is very easy to do. Maybe I'll show that here quick too. So if I don't want Scott anymore, he said, quit bugging me, I'm not interested. So what I can do is highlight him and say, remove him from this group. He doesn't want to be marketed to anymore, can't imagine that. And so now back in the e-marketing list, I can say sync targets, the simpler way to do it. Whoops, got to select a campaign first I want to sync targets to. And say sync them. Oh, what am I doing wrong here? Anyway, so that's what that button does, is it would remove him from the list. It would refresh the list, and we'd be back to 2 people in that particular list. Okay, what do we get? What's the point of all this? Well, obviously, anybody in the list is going to get your emails, but then what it will show you is as these emails go out, get delivered, and the results start coming back as to what happened to those emails, it will start to sync the results, and that's what this button does. You can tell it, I want you to go get the results, and if there are any new ones, I don't have any new ones today, but if there was, it would tell you, hey, I found 50 new people in the list that got the email and opened it, or they forwarded it, or they clicked on a link. It would go ahead and grab that new data and write that back into SalesLogix. And I've got an example of what that would look like here. I think I can remember this. Here we go. So here's John Beck. He's been part of the group. He was one of the 2. And what we can see is that down here on this e-marketing history tab, that he was indeed included in a particular blast, and he got this particular template. If everybody can see that. Okay, let me scroll down. So he was included, he got the email, and I can see that he opened it. That's good. And in fact, that he opened it twice. And so that would allow you to start ranking and seeing the results back in SalesLogix. And of course, you can build new groups from this data. So maybe you want to build a group. All right, I want to send another email, or I want to create a call list of everybody that opened our latest marketing email. And because all that data now resides back here in SalesLogix, you can do exactly that. And so each and every time John is included in an email blast that was part of a drip marketing campaign, and anytime he opened it, it's going to create a new record in here as to when did he do that. And you can see here he got the email on the 20th of April, and he actually opened it on the 22nd. So it sat in his inbox for a couple days, but eventually he opened it and is obviously very interested in what we're selling. So that, I think that's it, Brianna. That's what I wanted to show today. Again, this is not a soup to nuts demo of the drip marketing piece, but I wanted to give you a sense of exactly what do you get as far as the integration capabilities within SalesLogix. So there you go.
All right. Well, thanks, Scott. Right now, I don't see any questions. We'll leave it open for another minute or so in case something comes in. But I want to
Okay.
thank you all for joining us today, and thank you, Scott, for your time. And
Thank
like
you,
I
everyone.
said, if we have any questions that come in the next minute or two, we'll make sure to get that answered via the question log. All right?
All right, sounds good. One more thing I'll mention is our next one is going to be on surveys. So we're going to take a look at the survey capability and how that integration works in SalesLogix as well. It's pretty cool. So watch for that in our next newsletter. Brianna will update you on how to register for that particular little webinar as well. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye.